This video contains gratuitous use of profanity and uncomfortable pauses to compensate for lack of professionalism and original thought. Viewer discretion advised.
Coming to you live from Castle Vladislas, we bring you the Nerdy Manroom Show with your host, Hassel and Monster. Monster, we got a special show this week, got a special guest, but tell us how it's been, brother. Been a few days.
It's been a few days, not quite too many since the last time we were able to record, and I don't have much of anything going on, so I think we were going to skip Geek Week this week, at least for the most part, because I don't know if you've had time to do anything other than work, because I'm in the same boat, but we do have a very special guest interview, Mr. Anders Eriksen, coming on again today, and I think his wife is joining us today too. And I'm trying to
Miss Asia.
Thank you. I couldn't quite remember the name. I know we haven't got a chance to talk to her yet, so I haven't memorized it. But I'm terrible with names anyway. So everybody's, hey bud, how's it going, man?
What's up, bro?
Exactly. So we will go straight to that from here. Let's go straight to our focus topic. Have our wonderful interview with them, talking about I think we're going to talk mostly about SubSpecies 5, which they both worked on as part of the effects crew, and then we'll pop back over to here for Nerd Out.
Welcome, everybody. As we told you, we had a huge guest this week. We got Mr. Anders and Miss Asia Eriksen. Here, Anders is the world premier Freddy glove builder, and not only that, these guys are actually effects wizards as well, as they just worked on SubSpecies 5. So, how are you guys doing?
Doing good.
Doing all right.
Thanks for having us.
We're actually blessed to have you guys. We appreciate it. So, tell me a little about it. How did you guys? Anders, you was here a little while back, so we got a little bit on you. But Miss Asia, how did you get into the effects world, so to speak?
That's thanks to him. I mean, I was always into horror movies when I was a kid. My mom kind of raised me on horror, and SubSpecies was actually one of the first films that made me think about doing anything like actual work on horror movies or anything like that. I mean, I don't really think I thought about it as far as like, let me work for the movies, but I thought about like, man, I really want to build something, I want to build characters. I want to make stuff like these guys do, because I saw those video zones at the ends of SubSpecies. So,
and it looks so fun then.
It does. And actually, I remember that's one of the movies I remember my dad like. I used to be a horror snob, I guess, is how you would put it. I had to have the good effect movies, so to speak. And like my dad was the king of renting terrible horror movies.
Nice.
Like,
that's
that's back in the video store days. You always wanted to be there with him to keep him on the right path.
That's awesome.
And Dad would like rent these terrible movies sometimes, but like he brought that one home. That was and we were like, we just knew it was gonna be bad, And initially, I didn't enjoy it as much then as I wound up did later. But at the time, I was like, man, this looks corny, because when he breaks the fingers off and you get the little claymation, and I was like,
yeah,
oh come on, you'd been a little asshole at the time, and like I said, I was a horror snob then. But it became a cult, classic, and then I just wound up over time. I grew a fondness for it. So yeah, it was just that was kind of how I was introduced to it, so to speak.
When I first, actually, I got introduced to it through Robert Englund, funny enough, because he had these sci-fi, he was like hosting this series of different movies on the Sci-Fi Channel around Halloween one year.
Okay.
By the way, I've dug all over the internet trying to find these, and if anybody can find them, I'd love that. But I had my mom record it because it was like past my bedtime. I had my mom record it. And the next day I woke up and my mom was like screaming in my room, like, Asia, you got to see this vampire. He's so gorgeous. And I go out, there's Radu with blood and I'm like, but did you record Robert Englund? Like, that's what I was, I was trying to watch. And then I actually sat down, watched it with my mom, and I fell in love with this movie. Like I was really, it was just there's shots in this movie in that just like took my breath away, even when I was a kid, you know. So I really fell in love with like Ted Nicolau's directing of that.
You know, and I didn't realize until recently he directed Puppet Master versus Demonic Toys as well, and I was like, how did I not put this two together? But those are the type of movies that with time, you know, I just grow to love. You know?
Yeah.
Along the way that he's you know taking part in different movies like you know Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It took me a while to actually learn that years later after I fell in love with the Subspecies movies.
And Roar.
Yeah, well, that one was interesting.
Well, you know, it's incredibly rare that they allow one director to stick, you know, from start to finish and get each installment, you know, so he gets his fingerprints on every one of them. How cool was it to actually work with him, man? How would that process kind of work for you guys?
Well,
we've been friends a while.
Yeah, we've been friends, and then she helped kind of sponsor these reunions for the Subspecies guys, back in Horror Hound and those shows. And she put those together, and that's when we met Ted for the first time, and it came together in a really weird way too, because we had a table out. We had booked a table, and we had arranged for those guys to be there, along with our friend Dominic Mancini.
Oh, we already knew Honest first. We knew
Yes.
Honest Hove since I met him when I was a kid, but we were friends with him since like I think it was 2012.
Yeah,
we
because
became
we
friends.
met him at Monster Mania.
Yeah.
And we just became immediate friends.
Yeah, it was like we know him our entire
Yeah, it was.
life.
I was like, oh, there you are.
Yeah,
You know, it's almost like that. But yeah, we just became like fast friends, family.
There was lots of drinking.
There was.
There's nothing wrong with it. You can sit there and drink with Radu. I mean,
back our years hanging out with Honest Hove, like it's a lot of drinking. Like it was like we were like obscenely drunk. Like
he sounds like my type guy already. Just right off the rip.
It was fun.
It was fun. And then after lots of drinks, we then did Horror Hound, where we decided to drink a lot more.
And we met Ted there.
Yeah, and then Ted, he was there. Yeah.
And man, I couldn't speak for like 24 hours when I first met Ted because I was like
starstruck.
He's
whatever.
Like I mean I've met a lot of celebrities and people that are like you know big actors and stuff like that, but like the level of like respect I have for Ted's work is it makes me starstruck. Like I fangirl out still, even after being friends with him for years. I still feel like I remember when you were in Serbia and I was on FaceTime and I heard a knock at the door and his in his Airbnb and I was like, is Ted in there? Like I wasn't ready to talk to Ted yet. I didn't do my hair.
Yeah.
Like I was like, no. But yeah, I mean I was super starstruck when we first met him. And I remember seeing his hair just like come.
Of course, yeah, that's right, yeah.
Because he still wore his hair up in spikes.
Yeah.
And he walked through this hallway, and there was like this big wall there,
you know,
and I could just see the spikes of his hair, and I was just like gobsmacked.
Yeah,
like
it's kind of like one of those booths in a restaurant.
Yeah.
So this is the booth, and his hair
is just moving along.
Yeah.
Like a shark fin.
And Ted kind of he kind of bounces when he walks, so it's like da da da.
Except much more jolly.
Much more jolly, yeah. Less air you limb from limb.
Yes.
But
That's actually really awesome to hear people, because you know more often than not you hear people tell you never meet your heroes. So to hear people say they've met some of their great. That's awesome.
Very lucky.
Oh God, yeah. Even that first time we met him at Horror Hound, remember we were like, maybe we should hang back a little bit because we felt like we'd been like up their butts the whole time because we were like out and everything, and we're like, all right, we just want to take a step back. And they texted us about breakfast that morning because we're like, let's let them have breakfast by themselves without just the cast and crew and everything.
Like, where are you guys?
They're like, where are you guys? And then we went down there and he's like, you don't like us anymore? Like, we're like, okay, well we're gonna do this all weekend.
Yeah, and then it's funny because then We had a
that was fun.
Yeah, then we
That was
were
a fun
invited
weekend.
to a very nice dinner at Buffalo Wild Wings by our friend Dominic. And,
Yeah.
And
I feel like we're jerks because we really just wanted to leave because honest he
what's
was
his name?
Scott Wilson.
Scott
was there.
Wilson. He was there. Who was an absolute gentleman.
He's such a sweet.
He was
guy.
a beautiful person. But we had Anna's back at the show. Like, where are you guys? What are you doing?
I'm sitting here drinking alone, and
and we kind of like assholes too, because we were like, yeah, we just want to go back there and drink with that guy.
Yeah,
you know.
Like in retrospect, I feel really bad because we were kind of rude.
We were sitting there with the
we were
Walking
just
Dead stars,
like impatient kids, like waiting to go play with their. Yeah, we want to play with our friend. Yeah, exactly.
Look, you guys are cool. What?
Yeah, and then and then we crashed the water park in our overcoats drinking beer.
Oh my god!
Yeah, that was the same place.
That was the whole that weekend. It seemed to go on forever, man. But yeah, we have like some of the. I think Ted's idea. The best. Yeah, Ted's idea. Ted usually gets a pretty fun idea every show.
He does.
His was. It's always like real calm. Like, hey, I'm gonna go over there and check out that water park. Anybody want to come? And we're just like, yeah, we're all drinking. We're like, yeah. And so we all go into this indoor water park.
Outside. You know, it was winter.
Indoor water park with all of our big coats on. And
so we just walking around with our big overcoats, drinking beer in the water park. And it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And we saw all our friends there in their swim trunks, like in their floaties
floating down their lazy river.
They're like going, hi guys, and then just like floating by. And Denise,
Denise Duff went down the water slide in her underwear. Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and she was like,
what's up?
Look at me, and then like, hi guys, I'm up here in my underwear. And then Ted, he's like recording the whole shut down and everything. It was like made a little Denise's swimwear edition on his phone or whatever.
It was fun. Yeah, they made like a whole video.
Yeah,
he did like a whole shoot. Like he got all into it with his. You could just see, and I was like, you know, I got that fangirl in me there too because I just saw him do the director thing when he was like, go back up the slide, Denise. Let me get a shot from this way.
So all the fanboys that are listening right now are going, hey, when is this director's cut of hitting out?
Yeah, right. They're all going to be shaking down Ted for his phone. Like, I know you got the video.
Look here, bro. We know you got it. Let's get it. Let's get it.
Yeah. They're going to try to get it out of him.
Yeah, that was fun.
That was fun. Yeah. I mean, those guys, that group of people are like, they're like the most fun people that we've ever hung out with, I think, in our entire history of hanging out with all
that's when we really started talking about Subspecies 5.
Yeah, it was announced at the next Monster Mania we did, I think. It was a few years after that. But we were talking about it then.
And why it probably would never happen and how we could make it happen. And we were all like sitting around the table talking about
like, what could anybody do?
Yeah.
You know, how could anybody get this, you know, because it was just
stagnant.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you got 25 years between 4 and 5. I mean, the fact that you were able to get that together, that's pretty damn amazing.
It was, I mean, it was awesome. It was great that it actually got off the ground because at that point, I think everybody was feeling pretty hopeless. Like that at that Horror Hound where we met Ted. You know, because I was all gung-ho and I was kind of still living in La La Land a little bit from when I was a kid. And I was kind of like, why don't you just make it? You know, because like back then when you're a kid, you think like, you
can just get a camera and go and do it.
Just make it. Why don't you just make it, Ted? And like, you know, and there's just so much rooted in it and everything. And it just kind of like bummed me out. Like, whoa, you know, really? I didn't know that. I had no idea at that point that all of them really, really wanted to do it. But they just weren't able yet.
Yeah.
So.
So was it like a deal with the studio, or like something with Full Moon, or was it just?
Yeah.
Budget.
Producers.
And everybody needs to be on the same page with everything. And Charles Band, he needed to want to really be on board with it.
To feel like it was worth it to do another one, essentially.
I guess that's really what Ted really worked on
convincing him that. Look, this has a humongous fan base because it did, and for that time, There was things on the internet. I mean, every single time Charles Band, for a while, we were like trolling Charles Band. Like every time he would post anything, we would be like, why don't you make Subspecies 5? Like we would just keep coming. Why don't you make Subspecies 5? And then our
it's
other
fine
friends,
that you're making Evil Bong 36, but how about Subspecies 5?
Right. And our friend Jessica, she started this page called Subspecies Fans. So like to kind of gather all of the people in one place on the internet, because Subspecies doesn't even really have its like an official Facebook page. So there was just like raising hype, and then the conventions that we were doing, we sponsored I think it was 3 or 4 different conventions.
I think so too, yeah.
Where we would just go crazy and like sell a bunch of stuff, and we'd buy plane tickets for Anders Hove, because that's the one that he's the one that they usually don't want to buy plane tickets for when they do conventions.
Because he's all the way in Denmark.
Yeah.
So
we were raising for that, and trying to raise hype while we were there, and all the fans coming. And Denise, she's always recording all the fans, like asking like, how old were you when you first saw Subspecies? Like, I mean, it's like a group effort of like a beautiful family, and that's one of the things that really, really hit. I just love it about Subspecies, is that you'll meet other Subspecies fans, and they'll seem like people that you've known all your life. Like you feel like you have camaraderie, because it was really a big family effort to try and like get this movie made and raise hype and awareness. So
it's just kind of crazy to me, I guess, as a fan, to think that Full Moon would even be hesitant, because it's one of their premier properties. You got that, you got Puppet Master, Demonic Toys, some things of this nature. But I mean, that's like one of their premier things that got them off the ground.
Yeah.
So you would just think that they'd be all over, keeping that alive.
A lot of it had to do with, and I say like Ted, he's my hero, but like he did not want to
cheapen it.
Yeah, he didn't want to cheapen it. That big thing that he dug his heels in about is that if he wanted to do it, he wanted to do it right. So he wanted to make sure he was going to get enough of a budget, because Full Moon will put out, many, many, many low budget things. And
I will.
Yeah, I'm trying to talk nice about people, because I
know. No, as a fan of the base, I understand.
We're fans. I mean, yeah, exactly. We're fans, but Full Moon will like spit out anything. But Ted, he really wanted to do this movie justice, and let's and let's face it, part 4 was I think terrible.
It took a step back from the first 3. I will say that. Like the first 3 are like great, and it's like it just seemed like to take a small step down.
Yes, and he didn't want a repeat of that, and he just wanted to do this movie the justice that it deserved, and he succeeded in that, which I'm so glad that he was
a major accomplishment, I think, because it was right after COVID. There were so many obstacles. We had no clue just how much you need to overcome to be able to put all this together, and I think that that's a lot. Just because of Ted's persistence, because I can see a lot of people just like, you know what, it's not worth it. It's like, it's too much trouble. Things keep changing.
It was also shooting on location, things like that.
Yeah, and it was after COVID. I mean, we started talking about it during COVID, when COVID really hit, and then it was like, okay, we can't do anything, COVID.
And kept getting delayed, and I think it was 4 years after the announcement that it finally came to be. And I think that like every single time they would delay, we'd have a date that we were going to start doing stuff, and then it would just be delayed and delayed and delayed, and it was crazy. It was,
and then some actors were in, then they were out.
Yeah, there were actors that were coming in and out, and they were like, yeah, we're gonna do, no, we're not, like there's just like it was pretty wild. And I mean, when I think of all the stuff that Ted weathered a lot of storms to get this movie made. And it's interesting because it kind of came full circle, because I don't know if you've read his diary, his journal that he made of chronicling making the first one, but that was just like fraught with all kinds of crazy obstacles.
Very, very interesting.
It's very entertaining to read.
What's called the
Now I think
Diary
it's
of
just
Mr.
called. I think it's just called the Subspecies Diaries or something
Okay,
like that. But
yeah.
it used to be called the Secret Diary of Mr. Potato Head.
Yeah.
When we
Which
first
is
got our
great, yeah,
copy, it was called
yeah,
that, and we
yeah.
kind of wish he didn't change the name. But
Yeah, it's great
I think he just wanted people to
buy it.
know what it was more, so
Yeah,
he just changed it
that's
to
true,
like
yeah.
the Subspecies
Yeah.
journals.
I
Or
want to
something.
check that out because I'm always interested in what it takes to get these things, kind of going and off the ground. So I
Yeah.
had to check that one out.
It's really good. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
you definitely
really
do,
good.
yeah.
And basically, like throughout that whole entire thing, when you're reading it, the famous words in there is just like everybody just is yelling "fuck you, Ted." Like that's like you feel so bad for the guy. Like he had so many obstacles to overcome with that movie, and then with this one, it kind of came full circle because
everybody's still saying "fuck you, Ted."
no, they weren't. I don't know. I wasn't actually there. You guys might have been saying "fuck you, Ted."
I think it
I
came
might
out.
have said "fuck you, Ted" maybe a couple times, but
Yeah.
So it escalated just a little bit, huh?
Yeah. Smidge.
no, it was definitely tough to get off the ground for sure.
So
Years.
Mm-hmm.
there's meeting him and hanging out with him, cool. But how cool was it to see, Anders and full Radu, just he's there, ready on set, and he's Radu all of a sudden. How cool is it to see that in person?
Well, first, there were so many issues. And I never got to see it in person because I was stuck in a moldy apartment the entire time. Because there were not enough people working on effects, and I had to make all the molds. And we did have she was supposed to go with me first, but we had just had Lars, so he was newborn, and then she started having mysterious red marks all over her body, which broke with stress. So that didn't happen. Then they found two Serbian effects, effects artists to help out.
Yeah,
And
wasn't
they hired
Delia a teacher? An art teacher?
Belly, he was an art teacher. Yeah. And the other one they had just been helping hands on the Pinhead movie. So they were just starting.
Yeah. So basically, he was
basically,
sculpting everything,
Ah.
all the molds and sculpting all the makeups.
Yeah.
And then they had somebody on set that was putting them on the faces.
Yeah.
So which is what I was supposed to do originally, but I wasn't able to go.
Yeah.
And that was like probably one of the worst things ever for me. But like I had just had a baby.
Yeah.
And this was like the only thing that could possibly, like, if you think about anything in my life, having a baby was the only thing that could possibly come in between me and Subspecies.
That's one of those times when you look at your child and you're like, you better know I love you. You just better know this.
I was going to take him. Like, I was going to take him to Serbia. And once he went, when he came back, he was like, I'm so glad you didn't go, because the conditions weren't great. But I was going to take him. And I was like arguing back and forth with people. First of all, they didn't want me to go. They didn't want the baby to go. They wanted me. They didn't want the baby. They're like, I thought you were going to leave him with your brother or something. And like, I couldn't. Like, that was originally what I thought I was going to be able to do. But this kid, he's like he's a straight up COVID baby. Like, he's absolutely can't be left with anybody, especially back then. He only knew us. So I was going to take him, and I was going to take my best friend, who's like my sister, and I was going to pay for their trips, their flights, so that she could just have him during the day, and then I could run back and breastfeeding. And I was thinking, and they were like, I don't know how that's going to work. The logistics are bad. They were kind of starting to think of him as a liability. They were like, we can't get insurance on, the crew and everybody is insured, and the baby can't be part of that, and he can't ride in our crew vehicles, and this, that, and the other. And and Ted was saying, the very realistic possibility that, like, if he gets hurt, only one of you is going to be able to go with him to the hospital, and the other one's going to be stuck on set, and you can't move, and really put, like,
they threw every single
basically
obstacle at us.
I broke out head to toe in hives, basically. And I think it was I think it was my system taking a dump, because these were two things that meant more to me than anything else in the world, to be honest.
Yeah.
Was SubSpecies and the opportunity to work with Ted Nicolau, who's my childhood idol, and then my son, who I've wanted my entire life.
Mhm.
So it's like
You couldn't convince them. Hey, this is Baby Radu.
Yeah,
we've got it figured out already.
If only he was a little bit older or something, you know, it would have been so much easier. But you know, it didn't work out. Understandable why they wouldn't want a baby on the set of their movie.
In fairness.
Yeah, in all fairness, and it was just probably one of the worst.
Yeah, one
Just sit in between.
Once the movie started happening, it was like the worst timing in the world.
Yeah,
because my mom had also just passed away.
This is true.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I was like, I had to be on phone. I couldn't. I couldn't do any of it. Because you know, and so I lost my entire.
In order to
and all that stuff. So
in order to get my props, because I built props for this movie, to get the props there, they had to just travel with him, and he went himself, and he had a couple of really nice Serbian effects artists that were helping him over there. So
yeah, and while that was going on, it was on and off because they had hired one Serbian effects artist and just expected the other one to work there for free, I guess.
Oh, they were freelancing.
Yeah, so
you are an intern effect artist.
So that was a thing where it's like, oh, he's not here now? No, because he still isn't getting paid. So like,
oh my God.
Okay, so what now?
Yeah,
well, there's this other one.
Honestly, I don't think that you're supposed to say that.
Well,
you mean he wanted to be paid?
Of course they wanted to be paid.
Yeah, he ended up getting paid too. They fixed it. But it was just one of those things where it was extra stress on set.
Yeah, well, they had a very small budget to work with.
Did,
and it's incredible that they made this movie look so good with the kind of money they were working with.
It ended up looking great.
They were really strapped budget wise. Like it was crazy.
But you know, it's I think it might have been miscommunication, maybe, or I don't know.
Oh, the guy not getting, but he did end up getting paid.
He ended up getting paid, but it's like honestly, he was all there too.
Oh, he's
honestly, he's like the major humanitarian, so he was all like, if he got wind of somebody not being treated like fairly, or you know, and he knows the movie business is tough, but it's like he will step in and up, and it's like, okay, well, I'm not gonna do anything until everybody's being treated nicely.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
He's a good guy. He's
like
an
all-around
good guy. He really is. He tries to step in for everybody. He does try.
No, he's great.
But yeah, man, they faced a lot of challenges. One of the biggest challenges that he had over there was that before we went, we were told, well, they said they had smooth-on products in Serbia, which is basically what we use. Yeah, that's what we use for everything. They say, yeah, they have smooth-on products. Yeah, they have that. But they don't. Okay, so they don't have the correct smooth-on products over there.
When I saw a smooth-on product, it was in a Tupperware, and it was written in Sharpie on the fucking box, like the Tupperware. It said smooth-on, you know, and it was like. And it didn't work at all. It was like you mixed it, and then you waited like half a day, and it was still liquid. And so it's like, okay, this is not only not the proper smooth-on product, it also isn't anything at all, apparently. Or it's just so.
I mean, it could have been outdated. Yeah,
it could have been so outdated.
Like, yes, we have smooth-on over here. Yes. Here's your little Tupperware.
It's been on the shelf since 1999.
Yeah, exactly.
They're in Subspecies 4.
Yeah, and it's like that's
the stuff
what we're gonna make everything out of.
God,
basically,
the stuff he was telling me that he was working with over there was just like unbelievable. Because I was like in touch with you know when I could be with you know we were doing FaceTime and stuff with the baby, so the baby would see him and stuff like that, and it was just like unbelievable. Like the plaster that they had over there, like it's like these are basic things that they said. Yeah, we have that product. Yeah, they have that product there. And the plaster over there was just like insane. Like that was horrible stuff that you were working with. It was like,
and Velia, he was super fucking helpful. And you know, he was the guy who wasn't really hired. And he was like driving around trying to find, you know, usable plaster. Because you need that for dental impressions and mold making and all sorts of stuff. And the best grade plaster he could find was dental, what they used in dental plaster they used in Serbia, and it was still pretty fucking horrible. And it was like, we have hydrocal and ultracal here, and it's like crisp detail, super hard. And over there, it's just like it's like pottery plaster, you know, or what you use for fucking ceilings or some shit over here.
I'm sure actors are probably like, "You sure you're gonna put this on my face?"
What's that?
I'm sure actors were probably thinking, "So you really gonna put this on my face, huh?"
Oh yeah, he doesn't like it. He's not a fan of having stuff on his face.
No, he
either.
does not. No. And then that was another obstacle. And then
yeah, but you guys figured it out.
I mean,
so and so he actually sculpted. So he sculpted those makeups that you see in the movie.
How fast?
Some of them he sculpted in a day. Like they were like,
wow.
You need to have this done tomorrow. We're shooting tomorrow.
Yeah,
when we were telling our friends like that also work with this stuff, that understand how this stuff works, they're like, "What? That's crazy! Like that's insane." Yeah. It's like he has to sculpt it, make a mold, and cast pieces, run the pieces as many, and you usually need extra pieces of this stuff too, by a day. So it was that's the fastest I've ever seen anybody pull, makeup out of their butt. Yeah. And so good job. Yeah. Because we
didn't have any actors, like all actors were brand new and they were just like introduced to us.
Except for the main guys.
For Anders Hove. And I had tried to go to see him when he was in the States to get a live cast. And then back and forth before, so I could have that prepared for him before we start the movie. But then he caught COVID, and I couldn't fly to take his live cast and all that stuff.
So he had to do his on the spot too.
So and they started shooting Radu scenes really fucking early in the schedule. It was like the first things they did.
Yeah. Thankfully he didn't need to be in makeup the whole time because of the way that the story.
Yeah, but they chose to do a lot of the Radu stuff to begin with.
Yeah, but I mean that was one of the makeups that he did on the spot. He did the life cast and sculpted his makeup, on the life cast, and then made a mold of that makeup, and then casted that makeup, all that stuff on the spot then and there in Serbia.
And then the first one, he said like, "Oh, this one is annoying my eyebrows," so I had to sculpt it. And like basically freehand, I took the clay out and then just like adjusted it with my fingers while I was holding the clay piece in my hands. And then it's like, okay, and then made a mold of that. And then this should not annoy your eyebrows anymore. And then
he did a good job because he
it
liked
actually
that
worked.
one.
Yeah,
he liked that.
And then
one.
he's like, "Oh, I like this one." Cool.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, and that's what they use it.
Yeah,
which is kind of, I never done that before.
I mean,
just sit there with a clay piece and then it's just like.
Just on the spot, it's not going in front of the camera. I mean,
that was like boot camp for artists. Like,
so when we say special effects wizards, you were really doing wizardry work on the set.
Pretty crazy.
Yeah, and then the only one I had a live cast of was Kevin Spiritus because I met him in New York, and then I had brought all my own materials with me, so I had a nice live cast of him, and I had a nice plaster positive because I used my own plaster. I had a nice plaster positive of his teeth, which is also why his teeth are the only ones I made for the movie.
Oh, okay.
Because I had my own stuff to do that with.
Yeah, Kevin's makeup. I'm really proud of you for that. I mean, that was his own design and everything.
Yeah, he was an original
and it was
character,
just like I don't know. I thought that was really cool to see a new badass vampire in the SubSpecies.
Yeah, really. What I really got a really big kick out of was putting the makeup on Kevin, and then see him turn into the character, because it's a brand new character, and he just had so much fun with it, and he was just like he just took the ball and ran with it.
Kevin ate that part up. Like he
breathe and laugh into it, so to speak.
Didn't he make somebody bleed with his fangs?
He did.
Yeah, he was
He did actually bite a girl
and made her bleed.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and she had scars.
He had so much fun. Like
Yeah.
Come
He was great. He was great. And he was like, once he came into the, we sat in a courtyard and put the makeup on him because our Airbnb apartment was so full of fumes that he was like, he stepped inside and was like, I can't be in here. This is not healthy for humans. And he arranged to get a fan for us so we could at least air it out and stuff like that. But he was like, that's not a place for people in there. You know?
Yeah, him and Denise, weren't they going around and they were getting you fans and they were trying to help you.
They were
out.
trying.
Nice.
Also Mia, from
Nice
the Serbian production team, she was a gigantic help. Oh my god.
But yeah,
She was
you
huge.
actually.
I was incredibly surprised at how well Denise had aged. Like she
has a
very gracefully.
She has a very strict.
And she has her own face cream product.
Beauty regimen, and she has her own face cream product, in your face
cream.
In your face cream.
Yeah.
That she has on Instagram, and she's always having her beauty tips.
I'm gonna push her product a little bit. Not just because of the way she looks, but we had lunch or breakfast with me, Anna, and Denise at one point. And it was like, yeah, you see a lot of chicks, doing, face cream, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But she was like all into the scientific aspect of it. And she was like, oh, yeah, you got to see this. And because this raw material from this plant or whatever is doing this and this and this. And she knew all this fucking shit.
That's cool.
And I was like, whoa, okay. And I was kind of impressed. She knew a fucking lot about it. And she knew about all these different things work like this with these cells over here, and it's gonna make this and blah 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 blah. And it's like, all right, that's like pretty wizardry too,
Yeah.
So
So she basically went the old Rogaine route. It's like, I'm not just the president; I'm a client.
She knows what she's doing with her with her beauty.
It's obviously paying off because, like I said, I had to look a couple of times like, holy shit, she is just. I mean, I was like, wow, but not out of the park. Because there's not a big, like a lot of, I guess, actors when there's that big of a gap between there. Obviously, nature is nature.
That they made the last one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but yeah, she's she knows what she's doing, I'm sure.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Might have to give me some of that face cream in Monster so we can hit the old fountain of youth there.
There's some things, no matter how good that cream is, it's not going to help. I'm one of those things. I can tell you that now.
Yeah.
I'm not into beauty products myself, but I can appreciate it on people.
Yeah. My mom, she did face creams and all that stuff.
She?
But she also worked in that line of business before, too.
That's
cool.
Yeah,
so I can see that, Harry. That sounds like
I'm a whiskey man. I'm convinced it's what kept COVID out of me. So,
hey,
yeah,
I think so.
I was essential from day one, and still working in the logistics industry and things like this. And truck drivers were in and out, and I didn't mask or any of those things. I just whiskeyed up every night, and good Lord willing, I never got it. So.
Yeah,
there you go.
That's cool.
I can live by that.
Yeah, I mean, I think alcohol. We have the saying. It's like it thins the blood, so it's keeping me from getting clogged arteries, blood clots. That's my.
I literally had an uncle who was a drunk, like a legitimate drunk,
yeah.
And he had many heart attacks, but they said that's what kept him living.
Yeah,
they would thin his blood out to the point where that was the only thing that kept his arteries flowing.
Yeah,
I was like,
and
go wrong?
Like Lemmy died right after he gave up drinking. Like there's evidence. There's evidence.
Mick Jagger is still alive, so is Keith Richards.
That was the one I was supposed to say. If Keith Richards is still going,
yeah.
Drug, sex, and alcohol's got to be what does it.
That's keeping him alive. That's it.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah,
that's all you need.
Yeah, that's all I need. And also, I can say that Serbian beer is actually good. Everything, all their other alcohol is not.
That's cool. Oh yeah,
everything else, not so much.
He brought some home, and it was like the most disgusting thing I've ever tasted in my entire life. He brought like a couple of bottles of Serbian liquor, and I mean, it got drunk because alcohol in this house eventually gets drunk.
Mhm.
You know, there's always a desperate day, but it was so disgusting.
Oof.
It was so disgusting.
I think we all have that bottle of something that's like that last resort. It's like, shit, I am out of, and it's
Yeah.
Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no, you have to drink that.
And then one was walnut brandy, I think,
Yeah,
and
I
one
don't
was
know.
plum brandy, because that's their
that was
main.
horrible.
That's their main thing in Serbia is their plum brandy, just like in Romania. And yeah, it tastes like it's 10 times stronger than it really is.
It was revolting.
Yeah.
And it's like I was like, when I looked at it, I was so shocked at the alcohol content.
Yeah.
I forget what it was, but I was like, how is this not strong? What's the point?
It was like,
it tastes
yeah,
like you're drinking strong
yeah,
alcohol,
yeah,
but
yeah.
you're not.
Yeah,
Like, what?
it's like 80 proof or something, or 70.
Oh wow!
It
It tastes like moonshine.
yeah.
Shit was like, shit was like worse
Yeah.
than Everclear. It tasted.
Then I finally found out that it kind of tastes okay in coffee.
Okay,
that's the way to
and that's
drink
how
it.
that's
Yeah.
how it got drunk, right?
That's how I got drunk. Yeah. Yeah. So.
But he brought us some like Serbian foods to try and different things, and those were fun.
Yeah.
Me and Ember had a blast. Me and my daughter had a blast trying all the different
Weird things.
weird shit he brought back from Serbia. So that was cool.
Now you see why Radu has those drinking parties when he's in the States and or at these events. He's trying to get his fill in now before he goes back to that.
Yeah.
But actually, their beer is pretty good over there. Yeah, and
That's
it's
cool.
all 5%, it seems.
Huh.
But yeah, I would go to the gas station, buy some beer, and like it's like you don't get drunk. You just you seem
Just stay in the zone and keep going.
Yeah, exactly.
You were like a pirate trying to keep from getting scurvy at that point. You were
so.
like,
yeah.
I felt bad for you, like
Yeah,
much of the time.
yeah. Oh man, God.
And I was just sitting at home with
I
this
was-
cute little baby, and
Yeah.
I was like stressed out of my mind sometimes because I have so much invested in this film series, like from the time I was a child. So like whenever anything was going wrong, I was freaking out. Like I was like, well, what about this?
If I were there, it would.
Yeah, exactly. I
Yeah.
was sitting there like, no, and
Yeah.
then and everything's
yeah.
totally fine at home, but I was freaking out like
Yeah.
the world was on fire. Like,
Yeah.
oh no, what are they gonna do? And like
Yeah. Oh my God.
I was
There's
so
some weird
stressed
fucking
about
shit.
it.
Every now and then, it just pops into my head. It's like, oh my God, that happened. That's right. Oh my God, that happened too. Whoa.
But
I just like
the movie turned out so.
it's fantastic.
I think it turned out so beautiful.
Fantastic, yeah.
And
it's
I
really,
think that they.
Oh, the Bloodstone, for instance. Apparently, it's just.
have one.
Oh yeah, it's an early prototype. Yeah.
An early prototype of the Bloodstone.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get
That-
movie.
That is like too cool to me. That has like always been a cool ass prop to me. How long does it take you to make one of those?
Yeah. Oh, they apparently Full Moon. They're making replicas of this.
Really?
This right now. Yeah.
I sculpted it.
Yeah, she sculpted it, and Full Moon are making replicas of this.
So hopefully they're gonna give you some residuals, correct? We're crossing fingers here.
Ixnay on the residuals, but bragging rights, I guess.
Hey, what's cool is cool. It is a badass prop. How long?
Yeah, they can do whatever they want. It's cool, but yeah, no, it's totally cool that she sculpted this that's seen in the movie, and now Full Moon get to make some more money off of it.
Well, anytime you can sculpt the prop that has the blood of saints in it, I mean that's pretty damn cool.
No, I'm fine.
I'm glad the movie got made. He's he's trying to throw everybody under the bus here.
Yeah. Hey. What? No. Hey, I'm not throwing people under the bus as much. I should say.
And this is the baby that I made for. This is the actual one that was in the opening.
Oh, really?
Yeah. In the opening scene of the movie here. See if I can bring him up a little closer. And what you don't see in the movie, you said this podcast isn't G-rated, right?
It is not.
In the movie is that Radu has a really huge.
Radu, baby Radu was hung.
He's very hung. But yeah, this is the one that's actually.
Well, how else would Radu be? I mean, he's got fingers this long, so he's got to be endowed.
exactly. Well, there's actually a funny story to go with that. Is the first one that I sculpted had a very discreet Winky, because I figured, well,
Be respectful.
Yeah, be respectful, right? And when I showed it to Ted, he showed it to Charlie. This was way back when they were still trying to get, I guess, budget together and all that. And he's like, oh yeah, he's going to show him to see.
Also, filming locations
cool,
changed like 3 times.
And Charles Band, he was like, make his wiener bigger.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna have baby cock. You gotta have big baby cock.
They started laughing at how small it was, and started making a big fuss about it and picking on me about it. And then Charles Band said, make it bigger. And then so I was like, all right, fuck you guys. I'm gonna make this baby have like 3 legs. So so I got this. And then
Charles Band was happy.
When I did show it to everybody, I was like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, there's we had this prop in the Airbnb, right?
Yeah.
And then Christina, she was the hired FX artist.
I don't usually take it out.
And then she was like, "Okay, we have to address the elephant in the room.
Yeah.
What's the deal with the guy with his baby's dick?"
Yeah.
I had to tell her the
long
story.
dong silver.
Yeah.
Monster, we have the only show out there where BBC is for big baby cock.
Yeah, but I'd respond, but I'm laughing too hard.
Yeah, I think what Ted said to me when he saw it, he was like, Bova will be pleased. Talking about the actor that plays Radu. And I was like, ew, gross.
So one thing I was curious about, like when he's in full Crusader gear, he's got the white hair, he's on up in age looking. How does he progress in years, storyline wise? I mean, does the blood start rejuvenating him and make him look younger, or is that how we're going with that? Or
for vampire, he grows younger.
That's
the thing that's
like you remember in like Bram Stoker's Dracula?
Yeah.
Okay, I can deal with that. Oh, it kind of threw me for the loop when I was first watching. I was like, because he's he got the white hair, and I'm like, man, I just feel like if they could have conned him into dyeing this hair, I could jive with this a little better.
Yeah. Want to tell the wig story?
Oh man, yeah. You just want to throw everybody under the bus.
It's not throwing anybody
he didn't
under the
want
bus.
to. He didn't want to wear a wig.
Yeah, I mean,
he wasn't. He just was uncomfortable with. They didn't have a person to fit it properly. I think.
Yeah.
If they had the appropriate people that would have fit it properly for him, then he would have been more comfortable.
Yeah. There's hair and makeup people, and they do wigs and hair, and we didn't have those. So we had spent a whole day finding the perfect wig, and he looked great in it.
Yeah,
then we didn't have anybody to fit it properly to him. So
wow.
So they went with the more vampire he comes, the younger he gets, and the darker his hair gets, and so they did that. But
it works.
Yeah, I mean it worked. It worked in the movie in the end.
Yeah,
it was cool to me to get to see her become Helena.
Mm-hmm.
As Michelle and all the other movies. So it's like this full circle.
Yeah.
That was like really cool to me though.
Great idea.
I feel like this movie was a love letter to the fans. Like it's really something that for people that know the lore of Subspecies, it ties up a whole lot of loose ends in that way. It's like that's when she says, I'll haunt you, in 1,000 incarnations, and just like those. When I first read that in the script about that whole interaction between Helena and Radu, I was like, wow, this is going to be fucking epic for the fans,
Well, it really puts context to you can't kill your master. The whole, well, I'll keep you from being rebellious, so to speak, is if you knew this is the kind of fate that you have.
Yeah.
You're going to be tormented for all time to be in love with the basic reincarnation of your master. That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
I think so. I think you were both impressed with that part of the script.
yeah.
When we read it, I was like, wow, that's a really good backstory, and why he's so fascinated with this one woman in modern times, and like there's this much deeper drama going on than we were ever aware of.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
it makes a little more sense now, because you look back and it's like, holy shit, that makes so much more sense.
Yeah,
Why he would be, arguing with his mother and,
yeah,
so forth and so on over.
Yeah.
And
yeah, that was I thought I think the script was really good, and we thought so right from the beginning.
yeah. I really, really, really loved the script, and I loved. I think one of my favorite things about how the movie turned out is like the way that I feel like Ted managed to take the stuff with the knights, the Templars, and the knights and everything, and the Crusaders, and make that look so sort of dreamy, and like and everything's green and bright and pretty, and there's this beautiful landscapes and things, and it looks like a contrast between heaven and hell. Then when you get to the vampires and stuff, you have this sort of dark,
Dungeon-y.
hellish, dungeony, and
they mirror one another almost.
Right, exactly. It really feels like the battle between good and evil. It feels like you're looking at like heaven and the underworld when you see that stuff. And I just love that it seems like every frame in that, there's not a single part that is filler. It's all beautifully lit, beautifully staged, all of it.
Yeah.
I think it just turned out really, really great, especially with the budget that they were working on.
True.
And all the obstacles that we saw.
He was really fucking good.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
He did a great job. I saw there, like once or twice, I saw some of the lighting rigs they put up and stuff like that, and all the little things with their fucking little weird light boxes and smoke and shit. And I don't know what the fuck the names are, but it looked cool.
Yeah, but like those parts, like everything kind of looked like a fairy tale.
Yeah, no, they
the
got
way that
some
movie
really
came
beautiful,
together.
so beautifully shot.
Yeah, it's a gorgeous. I mean, it's a gorgeous movie. I think it was a visual feast. Really,
Absolutely, I think so too. I think it really
he knocked it out of the park.
Yeah. Also, the thing is that we had so many limitations, and I'm very thankful to Ted, who also edited the movie. He made us look better than we could, than we were, to be quite honest. So it's a big, I was like, wow, Ted, you're really.
By having that experience and knowing how to cut it, I'm sure to, work within the confines of where your limitations are.
Yeah.
That's where the experience pays off.
There were a lot of things going on that we're like, well, fuck,
Yeah.
How we're gonna make this work?
We had a lot of big fuck moments right there.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, even the whole thing with the wig and all that, like that was one of those moments where I was all stressed out and I was freaking out. Like, what are they gonna do? What are they gonna do?
Yeah.
And it was like, in the end, it worked out.
Yeah.
You know?
And usually I can make a good pair of teeth in like 2 hours.
Yeah. He makes them regularly for us for Halloween. For people that need them for Halloween.
In Serbia, where I didn't fucking know what the fuck I was working with, it seemed fucking impossible. So that's why Kevin is the only one who has my teeth.
Yeah.
And then they used some other ones from a dentist.
It's like the stuff that he was working with there, the materials. That was a huge. That was probably the biggest issue that it's like known to man.
Yeah.
Is that the materials are just like old and like not working.
Weird. Yeah, man. It was, and
it would have done, in retrospect, it would have done really well to have spoken to someone, an effects artist who's done work in Serbia beforehand. And I'm sure if we had reached out to some of our contacts ahead of time and like asked maybe Alan or something. Yeah. Nah, I guess he hasn't. Like, no. I don't know.
But in all fairness, I mean, who thinks of that? Honestly, you're like, fuck, I'm in fan mode. Let's get it done. Let's get this shit going.
Like, it was a thing where he asked, do they have this product? Can you check if they have this line of products? Do they have this? Yes. But like, it was completely.
It was not at all that.
Something that didn't even cross our mind is like, well, what if they're just saying that and they don't really have it? Or what if? What if it's like 100 years old? Like, no one thought that would be a thing.
A whole bunch of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, one thing that we use a lot is plastic. Just 2-part plastic. You mix it from liquid form.
Yeah.
In an hour. Something like that. We use that for a lot of stuff, like nails, teeth, skulls, whatever. Was not even a thought over there. That is not something you had at all. You had laminating resin. That's all.
Wow.
That takes 24 hours to set. And
the plastic we have like
45 minutes.
Yeah, if even that.
Yeah, it sets fast. Yeah, 50 minutes. All depends.
15 minutes, like it's already ready to come out.
So we have all these different things, and it's like, no big deal. We'll just get smooth on over there. It's so easy.
So we know a little different now.
Yeah, and then it's like there's no plastic, there's no plaster that is really good, and like there's all these different things, and so we really, I mean, I cannot thank Christina and Belly enough, because they were really fucking gung ho, and they were always, I mean, poor people, they were so stressed too, but they were really good people, and they worked hard. They worked hard, and they put up with a lot of abuse, because they were the ones who went to the set. Well, especially Christina and Vishnu. Vishnu was, did
they get yelled at a lot?
Yeah, they did.
For stuff
they did get yelled at a lot. And another thing is that it would have been really fucking useful if we just had a week to just like figure out, okay, how are we gonna run this shop? Because we all knew we don't know each other. We didn't have any of the actors right off the bat, but it's like we found out, I think, fairly fast. You're good at this, you go here. You're good at this, you go over there. You're good at this, you take care of this. And that was like in a matter of days. And then
I don't think you guys had a choice.
We didn't have a choice. No, we didn't.
Had to figure that out.
Christina, she did applications, and then she had Olga come in at the very, very last minute, which we could have used her right from the beginning for sure. She had the most experience with applying makeup pieces. And then Velia, he did a great job of fabricating all that stuff. And Vishna, she was great on set. She was good with people, and she came up with like little, on the moment spot solutions for certain things. So in that, I think that we found out how things sort of could work. But it was because we just didn't have a choice to do anything else, So
you're under the gun. You had to pressure the time crunch.
Yeah, because I don't know how long. I don't even know how long I was there.
A few weeks.
2 or 3 weeks.
3 weeks, maybe.
Yeah.
So, wow.
Yeah.
That's rapid fire right there. That is rapid fire.
It's crazy.
So, and I brought a bunch of stuff. Some we had bought ourselves our own money too, and first day my luggage was delayed, of course.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah. So all the materials, like, fuck, I hope they're gonna show up.
That would be a nervous 24 hours right there.
And the thing is, like, the first 24 hours, I couldn't even do it because I didn't have any actors. I didn't have anything.
Yeah, the delayed luggage and all that.
I had like 24, 48 hours just to kill and not have anything, and just wait for my luggage and wait for.
Yeah, that was rough.
Yeah, that was pretty rough.
Good thing the beer was good there, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's cheap too.
Man, you can't beat a good cheap beer.
I also went out a little bit in town, and then since I had to, since my luggage hadn't run, I had to buy some clothes. And Ted, one of the first things that Ted said was, when I was meeting him, was like, "Hey, nice pants shopping, man." and that was like, I think, the first thing he said. Yeah. So I'd gone over to some stores to buy
And
pants.
you bought some pants.
I bought some pants, yeah. So, it was a weird situation, and the Airbnb was a character in itself, because there was, we moved in there, and then there's a little courtyard, and that's where we did Kevin Spiritize's makeup, and we had artists and actors come in and out of there. So, like the first couple of days, all the neighbors started complaining. It was like, oh, there's people coming in and out of there. It's weird. What are they doing? It's there's too many people. The lights is on too long. They're making too much noise. We're gonna call the cops.
I thought you were drug lords that moved into the neighborhood.
Yeah, we saw people in their windows on their phones calling the cops, and they came out and yelled at us in Serbian.
And that was one of the reasons why he ended up saying, "I'm so glad you didn't take the baby here."
It's one of the things, yeah. We couldn't do anything. We were afraid to make noises. We were afraid of smells. They were unhappy because the lights were on too late. Because we would work until like 4 in the morning, and then I'd get up again at 8 in the morning.
Wow.
So it was like on all the time. One time we tried to open a mold, and Velia, he was outside grinding at a plaster mold to get the seam lines so we could pop it open easy. And they started complaining, and so we had to take it inside. But we can't have a grinder grinding off plaster inside of the apartment because everything would be covered by plaster dust.
Yeah.
Then he started chiseling at it, and the mold broke in two. And so from then on, we had to also like try to piece it together and all that stuff, and just like one thing after another. And that was Kevin Spiritize's makeup mold. And
Oh wow.
luckily we managed to.
And he looks incredible.
Yeah, so luckily we still managed to make him into Vladislavs. So
Very original, iconic character. That was awesome. So
I thought so. I really like him. Yeah, I mean, and that's all. Like,
I'm super proud of you for making that design for that character.
And there was
I had to tend to the baby off screen.
I thought I heard the little fella.
Yeah.
He likes being called a little fella.
He does though.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Oh, he's grumpy today. No.
Yeah, bees like that sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Well, we have probably kept you guys longer than we need to, and we appreciate your time, and we can't thank you guys enough. Is there anything you guys would like to have plugged that you got coming up?
What time?
You guys got anything you would like to plug that you got coming up? You're like, we've kept you for quite a while, and you got your little guy kicking around. So
Yeah. Well, our usual stuff, all the stuff from Trick or Treat.
Wear Pup coming out from Trick or Treat.
Yeah, there's a new Wear Pup coming out from Trick or Treat.
And this one that I have.
Oh yeah.
Is my latest that I do handmade.
Check it out.
Oh, there goes the baby.
No. Come here, baby. You're right.
Here, you can hold.
You're right.
trade one baby for the other. That is so awesome.
Yeah.
Literally, I had one of my friends posted one of those today. It was random. I was scrolling my feed, and I seen a Wear Pup, and I was like, "Holy shit!" I said, "We're actually going to interview the crew that make those tonight," and they were like, "What? Really?" I was like, "Yeah."
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I mean, I made him actually taking some inspiration.
Wow.
The Radu baby that I made. So I made him similar with the opening mouth and everything like that.
Yeah, and he's got like little limbs that, bendable limbs and stuff. And yeah, so he's like a full, like, really like what they call camera ready. He's a camera ready Wear Pup.
Yeah.
So it's so cool how lifelike those look.
My latest project is Vincent up here.
Yeah.
Which is
He looks great in the back, by the way.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So he's made from actually a life cast of Vincent Price that we poured in silicone.
Oh, wow.
And put on a mannequin, and he's going to be haunting our house this Halloween. So
That's badass. I went into my my Halloween gear and I just mounted my Freddy wall climber up there just the other day with us crawling out of the wall, so
Nice.
I'm pretty happy about that.
Yeah, and then yeah, well, I will be having some new gloves coming, releasing. I don't have them right now because Robert England has them.
This
So,
is true.
Yeah,
They're
so
at Robert's house. We just
they're at
went
Robert's
up there
house.
recently.
I can't show them right now, but yeah, keep an eye out. I'll post them eventually. But he
Sweet.
just sent them back to me. Yeah, and I think that's right now. That's
it. Right now, we're just working through the Halloween
Yeah.
season because we always get a lot of people wanting stuff before Halloween. So
I can imagine. I mean, who wouldn't want some of you guys worked at the Halloween season?
thank you. Appreciate that, man.
Yeah. But
So
also,
just out of curiosity, have you guys got a chance to check out the Dylan's New Nightmare yet?
Oh no, I have not. No, I have not. Not yet. No, I've been meaning to. I've been meaning to. Also, the Detective Last Nightmare, by Paul Austin Bailey.
There's Detective Coleman, isn't it?
Yeah.
I haven't got to see that one yet. I've seen Dylan's, and that one's in my queue to watch on my YouTube. So
Yeah. No, I just haven't had the time. I definitely want to. I mean, it's Miko Hughes as Dylan, so of course I want to watch it. He's a great guy. And Paul Austin Bailey, he does like the best Freddy makeup out there right now. So I want to check that out. Hopefully he shows off his awesome Freddy sculpts. I don't know. We'll see. But
I see on his page he had a couple he was putting up for sale, but
yeah.
which I love the one he's a part tour, and that's always my Jaeger is always my favorite makeup.
Great work. So I'm gonna check that out for sure. And then Dylan's New Nightmare, because seemingly a very ambitious project. So I'm definitely gonna check that out. And yeah, I think right now that's all we can. Do we have anything else to plug?
Besides our work.
Yeah, besides our work. But yeah.
There's just there's projects that we're not allowed to talk about. And that's
True.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
That's
true.
always sweet when you got stuff like that. That means that's a lot of cool shit for us to look forward to in the future.
Next time we can follow up because there's a couple of things,
Yeah. True.
Well, in the meantime, if you just get bored and want to send a Bloodstone to Georgia, I'm just saying,
hey,
your boy will always take one.
We're at home. We have our own materials. We might be able to do something.
Yeah, we have materials that aren't 100 years old.
Yeah.
Or at least not 25 years old, huh?
Yeah.
Well, guys, we can't thank you enough. We appreciate it. We love having you on every time. You're a pleasure to talk to.
Thanks for
so we know that little guy is want to spend some time with his parents, so we'll quit holding you any longer.
All right, appreciate you guys having us. Cheers.
Yeah, thank you.
Cheers.
For coming on.
Cheers.
And look forward to seeing you again soon, hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully, yeah. That's fun.
All right, guys. You have a good evening.
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Take care.
too.
All right. Well, hopefully everybody enjoyed that special interview. It was fun doing it. We always have fun when folks come on, especially when Anders does. It's always a good time and great talk with them. But Hassel, I think this brings us straight to Nerd Out today. So for everybody who hasn't been here before, this is where we ask random questions about topics of the day and respond with no prep time. Please feel free to expand upon our answers or provide your own in the comments section. Hassel, I think you went first last time, so I'm going to actually have one together today. So I'm going to.
Oh.
So, we talked even before we started recording it, you didn't realize it had been that long since Subspecies 4 had been around, between 4 and 5. And it was, 2 decades almost?
25 years.
So my question to you is, if you're asked to bring back another horror property that hasn't been around, hasn't had any screen time in years, whether it's a full decade or 5, 6, 7 years, something long term, right? Nothing like hey, we just had a recent Halloween and stuff like that. So nothing like that. But what kind of property would you choose to reinvigorate with a continuation, not a reboot, but a continuation of it? And what format do you put it in? Like, do you do comics? Do you do television? Do you do movie?
That's a good one. Oh, wow. Huh. gonna have to go with Nightmare on Elm Street. And I kind of want to do it in the same format of what the 2018 Halloween did. I want to kind of just bypass everything after the first film. So it's not a reboot. It's not you got Heather Langenkamp coming back as Nancy, but it's a continuation, picking up X amount of years later, and she's got PTSD. Same format. You do the same exact format as Halloween, but with Freddy Krueger. Evil never dies. Evil never gets old. It doesn't age. It just respawns. So to me, that would be interesting. And she's actually voiced she would like to come back and do something of that nature as well. She'd be a fool not to. But yeah, something like that. I mean, if it wasn't going to go with that, I'd have to say Chainsaw Massacre. I'd like to see it get a good sequel.
Yeah, those haven't been too popular amongst the crowd, honestly.
No.
Oh.
So what do you got?
I'm not as big into a lot of the horror movies and stuff as you are, but I usually like the supernatural type TV shows that they have. For me, one that I didn't realize how old it was until I looked back at this, but the TV show that used to come on Fox, Fringe, where they were investigators for the FBI and stuff. And it's kind of like X-Files, but they're dealing with more supernatural or man-made threats that end up becoming supernatural, like mutations to people and stuff like that versus aliens and all. But and I know X-Files got into some of that, but Fringe just to me was more, more modernized version of that, and it was better. But I didn't realize how old it was. But it aired from 2008 to 2013. I'm like, damn, it's been 10 years already, and like I would bring that back. But if I was doing that, I'd probably do it as either a limited run or even as a regular series, but on something like streaming, like on Netflix, where it's only like 8 to 10 episodes a season. Because that was the hardest thing about that show, is like they'd have an entire season arc, but it's like 20 episodes, and the first 5 are this arc that leads into the larger arc. And I'm like, just give me the shorter ones and make that a whole season, and I'd probably be more entertained by it. So that's probably one I would bring back.
You know what would actually be a cool one? Just for bonus points. Fright Night.
That was one that popped in my head.
Grown Charlie Brewster, him and Amy have a family at this point, and some of Jerry Dandridge's long lost family have finally tracked his ass down, and they seek their revenge against Brewster and his family.
That could be an interesting one.
Because Evil Dead was actually kind of teased at the end of the original as still being alive, so maybe he's been a vampire this whole time, keeping tabs on Charlie. That'd be kind of neat.
Would you do that as a movie or a series?
Dude, I could actually see that be a really fun animated film.
That could be, yeah.
Because you get away with so much through animation.
Honestly, a lot of times if you bring up stuff like Freddy and all too, I'm like, you could make. What if you did that as an anime style animation? That could be.
That right there would be a way you could squeeze 2 films out of Robert Englund easily.
Yeah, because he's pretty much.
Because he doesn't want to get back on the makeup full time, but he doesn't mind doing the voice. He does it. The cons all the time. So, he could do say 3 hours of recording, and you got 2 movies in the bag.
I forgot that he one of my favorite. And it's not really horror, but it falls into that genre, I guess, supernatural. My favorite shows has always been Supernatural itself. I forgot he was in an episode of that until I just turned on an old one when I was in a hotel the other day, and I just played it, and I was like, hey, I forgot he was in this.
You know what? I had actually forgot that. Wow.
He played a doctor in it who kills Dean to go talk to Reapers and stuff in the afterlife. Talk to death, and I was like, I forgot all about him being in the show.
Didn't Tony Todd also make an appearance in the series?
Yeah, I think so. I don't remember what he did, but I remember him being in it.
How could you not have him on at some point with that voice?
They had so many people in that show.
Yeah, this is true. This is very true.
Oh, but I think for today, that'll bring us to a close. But before we get out of here, Hassel, tell everybody where they can find us at.
Man, you can find us on Facebook via Hassel Hutchinson Nerdy Manroom Show, Instagram, The Nerdy Manroom Show, Twitter, Nerdy MR Show. You can find us on YouTube at The Nerdy Manroom Show. You can find us on our sponsors, Roku and Fire TV channel, Spotlight Media. And you can find us On the YouTube. That's where we really want you to find us. And Geek Network. It's been a long week and it's only Tuesday, people. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was going to say, are you going to remember that one, or do I need to throw that in? Because the next thing we need to mention is, hey, if you are interested in joining Geek Network, we are still looking for more members to help with interviews and reviews. I've just seen a lot of interviews coming across for the month of October coming up, and everybody's like, oh, my week got full really quickly here. So if you want to join up with that, check out the graphic we'll put on the screen here. Look at it for all the details for how to apply to join. Then after you check that out, go check out our friend and extended Nerdy Manroom family member, Big Rob. You can find him on his channel, Big Rob's House of Entertainment and No Chinese Food.
No Chinese food!
Yeah, I was going to see what you were doing this week. So
I had to. It's like building in me. It's been building in me all day, Monster.
But check out Big Rob's stories from life on the road, his unboxings and reviews, and his reviews of classic movies. He's been doing a lot of those lately, and I will be honest to say I'm 2 weeks behind on watching what he's put out, so I've got to catch up on that at some point this time if I ever get a free minute. And while you're checking Big Rob out, go check out our sponsor, These Zone Collectibles. You can find them on the internet at thezonecollectibles@gmail.com and on Facebook at These Zone Collectibles, or in their store at 305 Main Street, Tifton, Georgia. Visit them for all your nerdy needs, from comics to Legos, trading cards, games, toys, and more. Help them support the local artist community by supporting their cause of bringing unity through community. Fandoms unite. And before we get out of here, make sure you check out the credits at the end for some special shout out to some of our friends and our extended Geek Network teammates. You can find their details in the credits, so make sure you stick around for that. And after that, join us here next time for a surprise episode. Until then, live nerdy and be a part of the species.